Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. I have our holiday transfers out from Iron Orchid Design. This is this year's transfer. This is last year's transfer. And we're going to make a candle holder from these two containers. I got this one from the dollar store a while back ago. Something else came in, so I'm repurposing this one. You can also go to your secondhand store. You can always find this kind of stuff there. So this one I've already frosted, and I did some experiments on it. So first I did the frost, which is just a spray can, and this comes in a bunch of different brands. I put part of the transfer on, and then I put the Mod Podge dishwasher safe gloss over it. What happened was then I could see the brush strokes, and it was also a different color. So I thought, okay, well then I'll spray this again, and I could still see them. So then I thought, okay, I will just see if just spraying this will work over the top, which I did without the Mod Podge. And then the part where I did the Mod Podge went away. So I think I will do the Mod Podge over. I'm not trying to make it dishwasher safe, but I am trying to make it so that if it needs to be wiped down with a wet cloth, it won't damage what we have done. However, this one I'm going to do a little different. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and put the transfer on it. Then I'm going to put the Mod Podge, and then I'm going to spray it. So we'll have two different variations of this and see which one we like the best. So I'm going to set that one aside, and we'll start on this. And for this one, because it's taller, I'm going to use a little bit bigger items on it. I think I'm going to use these here. And then I think I'm going to use this little bird here. So I'm going to get my scissors out. And I'm doing this for to be used either with like what do you call those? Oh shoot. Flameless candles, which would be good, or to use it with fairy lights. In my house, my dear daughter has a tendency, and she's an adult, she is an adult, but she likes to leave the candles on. And so she'll walk right out the door. So this is a good way to combat that. So you can pick any part of your transfer that tickles your fancy. I'm kind of going for a scale thing right now. What makes sense as far as the scale of the height of this particular jar or container. I think this is actually a vase. I think originally this was a vase. Set that aside. And you can see I've got a scratch in it. I've got some watermarks. I think this might have been still a little wet from, I got to get some sticks here. This was probably a little wet when I sprayed it. So I think I want to do do I want to do the bird first? And then, yeah, then we'll build it around the bird. I picked this guy because of the color. I wanted some color in here because I think once you get some light behind it, it would be real nice. I don't know why I got a popsicle stick instead of the stick that you're supposed to use. But here we are. I did find that this went onto the frosted glass quite nicely. Of course, it'll probably make a liar out of me now because the video is running. Let's see. Whoop, I missed a little spot. You can always lay it back down. If a piece didn't come up, lay your piece back down and rub it again, and it'll stick then. There we go. I'm going to take the plastic, flip it over, and just rub it. Make sure all pieces are down. And I'll take this guy and I'm going to cut it up into a couple different pieces. See if I can get the backing off. Oh my goodness. It's not the backing, it's my fingers. I've got carpal tunnel, and I've been doing so much with my hands lately that my fingers don't want to work really well. Okay, I'm going to get a bigger stick here. Pull out the right tool for the job. When we do construction, it's the same way. We'll grab whatever's close, and that doesn't mean it's the right tool, but sometimes it's faster than going and looking for the right tool. And then there's just times where it's best just to have the right tool. Nope. I am scratching this a little bit, the frost, and that's okay. Like I said, we're going to spray over this, so don't worry about if you do any damage to the frosting if you do it this method. So if you haven't worked with transfers yet and you're asking yourself, is it okay to layer the transfers? Absolutely. It is absolutely okay to layer the transfers. That way you can build up your layers. Grab the popsicle stick again. Sometimes I like to use the edge as opposed to this. If you got rounded the corners, go ahead and just round. You can see it bubbling up. Although when I did the bird, it didn't bubble up, and yet it still came off. So you can always check it, but you do usually see the bubble starting, and then that tells you it's starting to stick to whatever surface you're putting this on. Very pretty. All right. So now I'm going to pull out a paintbrush, which I had in a bag from experimenting. I'm going to get the Mod Podge out. And honestly, you don't have to get probably the dishwasher safe. Probably any Mod Podge would work in this case because you're not necessarily getting it wet. You know, putting it in a dishwasher, you don't want to probably put the transfers in a dishwasher. I just don't think it's gonna work. But you know, you do want to clean them up. So I'm just going a little bit over, and I recently did this with a glass container, and it turned out really pretty, and which would be a great idea for a gift with the holidays coming up. I'm just kind of going over a little bit, just to kind of seal the edges. And you can see, especially here to here, the discoloration or the change in color. It's not discoloration, but it's a change in color. Just wipe down those a little bit. Then we'll let it dry. In the meantime, we will move on to the other one. I think that's going to be pretty. All right, so this one, I have popsicles here, sticks here to hold my piece in place. I'm going to set this aside for a second. And then we're going to grab the other transfer. And I'm going to use this band. And it's probably not going to go all the way around. So we might have this be the front, or we might put something where the opening is. Let's see. You want to make sure your glass is clean also. You can either throw it in the washing machine, a dishwasher, not the washing machine, that would be a mess. Put it in the dishwasher or just hand wash them. And if you can't, if you're in a place for some reason where you just can't do that, then you can use rubbing alcohol and wipe it down. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to put into this space here. I could just leave that being the front and just have that be the back and not have anything on it, and that would be fine. This way, you could have it this way if you put something there, or you can have it that way. So I think I am going to go ahead and put something on the back here, or the front. I love this, but honestly, that feels kind of Halloweenish to me. So I think I'm going to save that because I really, really like that. And I only saved one of these for myself. Only one. So the bow would be cute. I was going to see how that would play out. And the nice thing about this is if you can't quite see what it's going to look like, just carefully just kind of set it on there and look to see how that's going to play out there. And that looks pretty good. So I had a little bit of bubbling here, and you just want to get in there and just really push it down, and it'll be fine. Same on this side. It's right in the same spot on both sides. Probably operator error on my part. All right. So now I'm going to go around with the Mod Podge again and paint it just to the edges. All right, get these varnished a little bit. Okay, I've gone around the entire thing, and any place that there's kind of like lines of glue, go ahead and just smooth those out. The other thing you could do is you can certainly just go around the entire thing. You don't have to just do it the way I'm doing it, which is just around the, I'll try speaking English, just around the transfer. So we want this to dry completely before we do the next step, which is going to be doing the frosting on it. But I just want to make sure that I don't have extra of the Mod Podge, too much of the extra of the Mod Podge. Well, it looks pretty good, so I'll just leave it there, let it dry, and move on. So I've sprayed these twice and let them dry in between each coat. And there's a little bit of ghosting right here, and I think that's the frosting kind of drying a little extra thick right where one of the lines was from the Mod Podge. Over here you can barely see it. It's just kind of a little bit discoloration, but I don't think under normal circumstances you'd even see it. It might be that I just didn't get enough of the second coat right here. It does have a tendency to roll down a little bit, so if you're spraying it like this, it'll roll down, and you can see I got a little bit of kind of a little extra, and you can either take your fingernail and just go along here, or high grit sandpaper like a 220 somewhere in there. But that's how they turned out, which is pretty cute. I wanted fairy lights so that they would kind of crawl up, you know, the jar, but I couldn't find any, so I ended up getting this, which is a Halloween light that flickers, so it makes it look like a candle. But the problem is it's orange and you can kind of see through. So I think what I'd do if I had to use these is I would paint it white or ivory or something. But ideally, I think I would like the fairy lights in these, and I will keep looking for them. They had the really long ones. They had 20-foot fairy lights. I was like, how do people use, I mean, I'm not sure what you use 20-foot, but I also know they make them about this long, or 10, well, you need like 2-3 feet just so that it kind of wiggles its way through there. Or you can just put a regular candle in there, the battery operated, that have the flickering. I think it would just be pretty with the flickering. Obviously you don't have to do it that way, but anyway. If you have any questions about any of the products that I used here in this video, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye.